Yes? Yes. I'll be waiting for you, Tommy. I'll be waiting for you. He's coming home. My boy is coming home.
On television, in the movies, perhaps on the stage, you've enjoyed many plays that were presented to you. But have you learned to enjoy reading plays, presenting them to yourself? People who have learned to do this say they have a world of new experiences open to them. For much great literature, from the Greeks, through Shakespeare, up to modern times, is written in play form. Some plays are long, some are short. But no matter what the play, the skills of play reading are much the same. Just what is a play? Let's look at one. We see speeches and the names of the people speaking. Words set apart in italics or parentheses tell what the actors do. These are called stage directions. From these clues, you must see the play on the stage, in your own mind. A play, try it. Think of a scene.
Who's there?
That is a scene. Now, how would such a scene be written? Enter Holden. He goes to desk and starts looking through papers. Door is heard closing off stage. Holden, involuntarily, who's there? Exit Holden. From such words, you create in your mind the complete scene. That is play reading. Now let's study this job more closely. Let's begin the reading of a play, a famous comedy, She Stoops to Conquer, or The Mistakes of a Knight, a comedy by Oliver Goldsmith, first printed in 1773. 1773. The times, before the Revolutionary War. The place, in England, an English country house. Now let's begin to present the play to ourselves. Act 1, Scene 1. Imagine the stage on which the play is to be given. Scene, a chamber in an old-fashioned house. Since the author doesn't give us a full scene description, we can only imagine our setting in a vague way. In later reading, we may have to change this picture, perhaps add to it. Now we read. Long year. Old time. Old manners. Old books. Old wife. They are undoubtedly a fairly old couple. Perhaps you'll be reminded of people you've known.
After all, going out to eat isn't so much. We ought to do it more often.
We go out as often as we can afford.
Well, we don't go out as often as our neighbors. You earn just as much money as they do. You ought to hear what I hear on the phone every day. Going out to eat here, going out to eat there.
You've seen such couples. Now let's imagine them as characters in our play, costumed in the dress of the times. Of course, later, we may need to revise our ideas of these characters. But for now, we have two essentials of our play, a setting and characters. What about the dialogue? We can read it hurriedly. Take the first speech. I vow, Mr. Hardcastle, you're very particular. Is there a creature in the whole country but ourselves that... Yes, we can read that way. But if we do, our play doesn't come to life. We miss the fun. Let's try again, imagining the way the lines would be read by our Mrs. Hardcastle.
I vow, Mr. Hardcastle, you're very particular.
That's better, isn't it? To understand the play, to enjoy it, we usually must imagine the dialogue as actually heard. Now let's begin our play again, imagining the opening in full. Act 1. Scene, a chamber in an old-fashioned house. Enter Mrs. Hardcastle and Mr. Hardcastle.
I vow, Mr. Hardcastle, you're very particular. Is there a creature in this whole country who doesn't take a trip to town now and then to rub off the dust a little? Now, there's the two Miss Hoggs and our neighbor, Mrs. Grisby, take a month's polishing every winter.
Aye, and bring back vanity and affectation enough to last them the whole year.
Notice the movements of the characters in relation to each other.
In my time, the follies of the town crept slowly among us. Now they travel faster than a stagecoach. Its fopperies come down not only as inside passengers, but in the very basket.
Notice, too, how the gestures add meaning to the words.
You've been telling us about them these many long years. And here we live in this rumbling old mansion, which looks for all the world like an inn. But we never have any visitors. Our best visitor is old Mrs. Oddfish, the curate's wife, and Ripplegate, the lame dancing master. And for our entertainment, you are forever telling us old stories about Prince Eugene.
And so we have begun our play,
Oh, how I
presenting it to ourselves through reading.
And I love it.
From the dialogue and stage directions alone, we have created a play through imagination. We imagined a stage setting and characters and dialogue actually heard. Thus, we produce plays on our imaginary stage.
I'm not as old as you make me, not by more than one good year. Add 20 to 20 and see what money you can make on that.
Let me see. 20 added to 20 makes just 50 and 7.
Oh, 'tis false. You know I was but 20.
A play to enjoy in your own mind. That is what play reading is. There are many aids you can use to make play reading easier and more fun. One is remembering other scenes you have seen and other people you have known that help you imagine the play more vividly. Another aid, and a very important one, is to act out the play as you read it. First, imagine the stage where it will be played. When you use your imagination, the room you are in can assume the essential characteristics of the stage setting. Now, read the first lines of the play, putting yourself in the place of the character speaking. When you come to the next character, change and read in that character's manner. These are aids that help you create in your mind's eye the glimpse of life that is the play, the object of your reading. Try it. Learn to read plays. For if you do, you have a whole world of enjoyment at hand in the great plays in our literature.